Hello, everyone. Welcome to Halcyon. Just a very few quick logistical things. Number one, the restrooms are going to be right behind me here. So if you need to go to the restroom at all, please use that hallway. Secondly, we're going to be having a few more people arrive. So if everyone can kind of scoot towards the middle and fill in that middle space. This is like the announcement you wish they would do at the movie theater before packed movies started. Well, we're doing it here. Wonderful. Okay. With that, I would like to introduce the Chief Operating Officer of S&R Foundation, Kate Goodall.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to join us today, particularly in this brilliantly beautiful weather. Today is the kickoff for Halcyon's 4th fellow cohort, and I can't believe that it was only 18 months ago that we were kicking off our inaugural first cohort for Halcyon. So it's brilliant to look back and see how far we've come. Since launching Halcyon Incubator in September 2014, we've had the opportunity to work with 24 ventures, and collectively, they have raised over $4 million, created 110 jobs, and impacted over 70,000 people worldwide. And that exactly exemplifies what is so special about our entrepreneurs. They don't just think about a better future or talk about it. They're out there every day creating that future, one by one client at a time, one person at a time. They do that with the help of everyone in this room and beyond. So I'd like to pause here and say a big thank you to all of our sponsors, to Capital One and Sucampo. We are honored and grateful to surround all of our fellows with fantastic support from Deloitte, Arnold & Porter, Sage Communications, and Amazon Web Services, and many, many other wonderful people who take the time to invest, mentor, or support them. And I would be remiss not to note that today is the opening for our application for our 5th cohort, not a coincidence. So please help us by posting, tweeting about that, along with our website, which would be a great place for them to find the application, and that's www.halcyonincubator.org. But today, we welcome 8 new social entrepreneurs into the Halcyon family. And these entrepreneurs have made it through the most rigorous and competitive application process, from over 200 applications down to these 8. I mean, we stopped just short of a blood sample with these people. So believe me when I tell you that we expect great things from this group. So without further ado, please help me give a warm welcome to Prasoon Kumar, our first fellow and founder of Winterhide.
You know what? I'm the oldest member of this cohort, but today with all of you here, I feel much younger. So thank you for coming. So in 2013, India witnessed one of its worst communal riots since independence. More than 50,000 families had been rendered homeless over a single night and forced to live in fields outside their towns and villages. As they waited to go back home, winters arrived. And over a course of few nights, more than 50 young children died. And they died of nothing but just cold. In fact, globally, more than 400,000 such deaths occur every year. In peak winter time, this rate could be as high as 150 people dying per hour. My name is Prasoon Kumar, and I'm an architect and urban planner. I founded Billion Bricks 2 years ago with a very simple vision to save lives of the most vulnerable, those who are refugees, homeless, and struck by disasters. We use design, technology, and architecture as our tools to innovate new solutions which can actually solve these problems once and for all. Winterhide is our first product and innovation which has come out of our studio after 1 year of hard work. It's a fully insulated tent for a family of 5 to be used in emergencies as a temporary shelter. It actually traps a family's body heat to keep them warm, safe, and protected. It's women-friendly, it's water-resistant, it's windproof, and it's very lightweight and can be assembled in less than 15 minutes. It actually costs less than $200. We've been testing the product for last 1 year, both with users and in controlled environments. And as I speak, we've actually piloted it in India and families are using it day in and day out. So in 2016, we wish to bring Winterhide to market. And I need your support, help, and partnership to make that happen. Winterhide is a product for the poor, but it's not a poorly designed product. It's the right product. Thank you. And I'll invite Charlene and Farhan for the next one.
Good afternoon. Have any of you had an aging parent or other loved one that struggled to safely do basic things like get out of bed, ambulate around the house, or take a bath? Show of hands. Well, former President Jimmy Carter once said that the measure of a society can be found in how it treats its weakest and most helpless citizens. I'm Dr. Charlene Brown, CEO and co-founder of Reciprocare, and to my left is Farhan Negarestan, CTO and co-founder. Together, we created Reciprocare to improve home care for society's most helpless citizens, its elderly and disabled. As a board-certified preventive medicine physician and the adult daughter of aging parents, I can attest firsthand to the importance of the home care workforce in providing safe and reliable care. An important problem occurs in home care. When an agency worker cancels a shift at the last minute or just doesn't show up, agencies struggle to fill those gaps with their own workforce, and when they are unable to do so, families are left to fend for themselves. While Reciprocare's web and mobile application provides a tool that agencies can use to find vetted, qualified caregivers who want to freelance to bridge those gaps.
The issues that we are tackling are so important that I left my full-time job as a software engineer at the advisory board company to fully focus on Reciprocare. This is actually very personal for me. I have a grandmother who depends on home care around the clock. Either an agency worker or a family member has always to be around her to keep her safe. Whenever schedulers at her home care agency are struggling to fill her shift, I know that Reciprocare is the missing piece in their scheduling puzzle. So let's join us to ensure safe and reliable home care for my grandmother and millions of seniors and disabled persons in similar situations. Thank you.
Now we are honored to introduce Mr. Sam Pressler of the Armed Services Arts Partnership.
Scott Farley is a U.S. Marine Corps veteran who recently completed Comedy Boot Camp, the only stand-up comedy class in the country for veterans. Prior to the course, he was suffering from severe PTSD, unwilling to leave his home, and struggling with suicidal ideation after multiple deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. Over 25% of veterans suffer with PTSD or severe depression. Nearly 60% of veterans with trauma struggle to transition into civilian life. And according to the VA, veterans commit suicide at rates 50% higher than the civilian population. Compounding this issue, over half of veterans do not seek traditional forms of treatment due to a perceived stigma, lack of access, and inconsistent and inadequate care. In 2009, I lost my uncle to suicide. And to this day, I experienced the pain felt by so many families across this country. My name is Sam Pressler, and I'm the founder of the Armed Services Arts Partnership, or ASAP. Through free 7 to 10 week classes in comedy, writing, and the arts, we build supportive communities for veterans like Scott Farley. We focus on developing their artistic skills in stigma-free, community-based environments. In the process, many of our veterans derive a renewed sense of purpose, valuable life skills, and safe healing outlets, allowing them to better reintegrate into civilian life. Since our launch in spring 2015, we've served over 300 veterans through our classes and alumni meetups, delivered performances to over 2,000 audience members, enabled 10 of our veteran writers to become published for the first time. By 2020, we hope to scale this impact nationally, empowering thousands of veterans per year in communities across the United States. So, what happened to Scott Farley? According to him, Comedy Bootcamp saved his life. His PTSD symptoms have significantly decreased, and he now looks forward to waking up every day, not as a disabled veteran, but as a comedian who has a voice that deserves to be heard. Nationwide, there are hundreds of thousands of veterans like Scott for whom the arts can change lives. Let's work together to make this change, ASAP. Well, now that my Donald Trump moment is over, I'd now like to welcome to the stage Daniel Hill.
Small businesses in the US alone contribute $60 billion in energy costs every year. $60 billion. That's enough energy to power 1/3 of the homes in the United States. But you see, the problem is small business owners themselves lack the time or the knowledge to know where to begin to save energy, so most just don't do anything. At the same time, millions of today's youth want to learn about energy. They want to help solve climate change. But the classrooms aren't exactly giving them what they need, and I should know since I was one of those students. So what if a student could learn about energy while helping a small business save energy? My name is Daniel Hill, and I'm the co-founder of Green Impact Campaign. We provide students with a cloud-based toolkit to conduct free energy assessments for small businesses in their community. Students use a simple app to answer yes or no questions about the business and how they use energy, and while they answer questions, the app automatically compiles a report. On average, a business finds 30% in energy savings and takes only 20 minutes for the students to complete. To put that into perspective, 500 students using our program could serve every small business in DC in just 48 hours. To date, students have helped 400 small businesses across the country, and they have identified 5 million kilowatt hours in energy savings. We're on track to reach 5,000 businesses in the next 2 years. Meanwhile, students are seeing real-world benefits. And our volunteers have gone on to have EDF Climate Corps fellowships, sustainability managers at companies, and even become professors who have incorporated our program into their curriculum for their students. Through simple energy assessments, Green Impact Campaign is helping students learn about energy while helping small businesses save energy. Thank you. It's my pleasure to now introduce Yoko of Sensound Space to the stage.
Hi, my name is Yoko. I am a founder of Sensound Space. We bring human-centered sound design to hospitals. I was born and raised in Japan, and I am an ambient electronic musician. A few years ago, I got sick, and I had to spend many hours in hospitals. Lying in bed, I used to imagine, what is the last sound I get to hear at the end of my life? Is it like this? Sound matters. And it's largely overlooked in healthcare today. Alarm fatigue is a safety hazard. The cacophony of beeps and TVs and people talking, noise makes it very difficult for us to sleep. Have you been to a hospital for yourself, for your family member? We've all been there. Now let's imagine a hospital sounding like your favorite place. Beach, mountain in Colorado, spa, soothing, soundscape to help promote the recovery. No one is really focusing on this issue right now, and luckily I am an expert patient with really sensitive ears. That's why I founded Sensound Space. We want to reimagine the soundscape of hospitals all across the world. We will develop a range of products to help hospitals improve their sound environment with great return to investors. That's what Ryan told me to say. We are so happy to be working with Sibley Hospital's Innovation Hub. They are such great team as our research partner. And we brainstorm with nurses and doctors, and we test our ideas immediately with patients so that our solutions meet the real needs. At Sensound Space, it's not we design for you, we design with you. So let's talk about your experience, what you wish you could hear in hospitals of future. Together, we can help humanize our hospital experience. Thank you. Now it's my honor to introduce Jeffrey and Christoph of Uptop Acres.
When you get off the metro in downtown DC, what do you see? While mostly busy concrete jungles filled with lifeless buildings, we see acres of underutilized rooftop space with the ability to feed us and provide a natural event space with the natural world. We're Uptop Acres, a rooftop farming company founded by 3 DC natives with backgrounds in organic farming, urban planning, and social entrepreneurship. Instead of miles driven, we measure the distance our produce travels in flights of stairs or stops on the metro. My name is Jeff, this is my partner Christoph, and our third co-founder Kathleen is here with us today.
The mission of Uptop Acres is to establish agriculture as a fixture of city life through the creation of a network of rooftop farms. Imagine flying into National Airport and you look out over a gray landscape. What if that could be a sea of green stretching towards the horizon? That's our vision for cities in America. By looking to the rooftops, we convert underutilized space into viable sources of income and environmental safeguards. Our farms provide organically grown fruits and vegetables while at the same time help address 2 major issues facing urban areas today: stormwater management and sustainable development. Our farms help capture the rainwater that leads to the 3.2 billion gallons of mixed sewage that flow into local DC waterways each year, polluting fisheries and contaminating recreation areas. So, last year, we opened our first 3 rooftop farms, totaling 10,000 square feet. Our produce is sourced to local residents and local restaurants, some of which are owned by our guest, José Andrés. This year, we plan to open 40,000 square feet of additional rooftop farm space. These farms don't just focus solely on food production. They also serve as unique green event venues to host educational programming and job training.
We encourage you to join us in this local food movement. Fresh food tastes better, and it doesn't get more local than roof-to-table agriculture. We encourage you to come visit our farms this year and eat at the restaurants that serve our produce. Thank you for your time. I'll now be introducing Farah, founder of Electric Feel.
Imagine charging your car like you charge your cell phone with a battery bank. I'm Farah, founder of Electric Feel and disgruntled electric vehicle owner. Time and time again, I find myself running out of battery power at the wrong time and being constrained to a charging station. its uptime, and queuing for hours just to get a 30-minute charge. That is why I developed a patent-pending portable off-grid charger. This design allows electric vehicle owners to charge on the go, providing the ultimate convenience. With a ratio of 23 drivers to 1 charger, we're all struggling out there. My device is like nothing on the market, and that's why it's a game changer. Now, electric vehicle owners can charge when they want and where they want, when and where. Electric Fuel provides assurance to non-electric vehicle drivers that they won't get stranded. And to the current electric vehicle drivers, we're reducing the burden on the current charging infrastructure. So many of you here today may not be electric vehicle owners. However, if you've ever charged your cell phone and then you wanted to make an emergency phone call and it dies, then you do have the experience of what it's like to be an electric vehicle owner. So please, come see me so we can talk about how we all can contribute to this innovative solution to reducing our dependence on fossil fuels. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce Eric from Spendrise.
Okay, good afternoon. I'd like to begin by asking you to think about all the places that you spent money just today. Maybe you bought a cup of coffee at Starbucks this morning, or maybe you bought a cell phone. Or maybe you took an Uber to get out here. Now, with those places in mind, I want you to think about the causes that you care about, the issues that motivate you as a citizen, that call you to action. Perhaps you, like many of the people in this room, care about our planet. And you'd like to change the fact that Starbucks uses 4 billion of those iconic paper cups every single year, but not a single one of them is recycled. Or maybe what you're hearing about Uber in the news has you wishing that they might change the way that they relate to their drivers. If this sounds like you, what do you do? How do you effectively support change at these businesses that you already support with your dollars? How do you bridge that familiar feeling of disconnect between our spending and our values, and communicate clearly to companies what you value as a paying customer? Bridging that gap is why I founded Spendrise, to make it possible for you to do more with your money, to encourage businesses that you love to be even better for the world. And how we do it is by bringing together something old and something new. We take the humble, age-old petition, and we power it with the emerging technology of crowdfunding to create an online platform for you to not only speak up, but actually be heard on the issues that you care most about. Another way to describe it is actually maybe clearer. It's as our very own Ryan Ross here of Halcyon likes to say, imagine if Kickstarter and Change.org had a baby. That healthy, adorable, surprisingly strong baby would be Spendrise. So going back to the example of Starbucks, on Spendrise, you and countless other Starbucks customers would pledge to spend $20, $50, whatever amount, on the condition that Starbucks makes the change to recyclable cups. If they do, then your pledge is fulfilled, and what you receive is a gift card in the amount of your pledge. And as a result, 4 billion paper cups every single year will be diverted from landfills around the world. Now, if they don't, then through all or nothing crowdfunding, your pledge will expire, it costs you nothing, and no money changes hands. At Spendrise, we are paving the way for you and the growing millions of consumers who care to communicate directly with businesses about what you value and what you want to see in this world. And at the same time, we are supporting businesses to connect deeply and authentically with you, their paying customers. excuse me, and by enabling you to co-create social responsibility and positive social change. Businesses will be able to achieve new levels of brand affinity and customer loyalty, things that we know drive their bottom line. My name is Eric Shi. I'm the founder of Spendrise, and it's truly an honor to be part of the Halcyon community. And as I'm the last of the fellows, on behalf of the cohort, thank you, the deepest thanks to Dr. Kuno and the SNR Foundation for this amazing opportunity to collaborate together and with all of you, friends, new and old, in the room today. So I look forward to building something great with all of you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Dr. Sachiko Kuno, co-founder and president of CEO of SNR Foundation. Please, a warm round.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's a wonderful day again for me to welcome the new cohort, already cohort 4. And let's give the fellows another round of applause. And they are very bright. We expect great things to come from this cohort, this group again in the coming months. For myself, I am the co-founder of the 3 biotech companies, and in the past 30 years or so, I moved to the United States 20 years ago and to start new biotech company in Bethesda, Maryland. So as first fund, I know very well what the journey of the entrepreneur is like. Entrepreneurship is very interesting and challenging, and it's sometimes very stressful, and sometimes very lonely, and sometimes even depressive. However, at the end of the day, it's the most rewarding journey you can embark on. There are a lot of people who don't take risks to create big things. So to our fellows here, I say this: congratulations on your bravery. Thank you for taking a risk. We are very much lucky to have another brave entrepreneur with us today, who will sit down for a conversation with our program manager, Ryan Ross. Okay, join me in welcoming to the stage José Andrés. Thank you.
All right, hello everyone. Hola. I took 5 years of Spanish, so that's about as much Spanish as I can speak. So I guess we should get started. I know this is a man who needs no introduction. If you don't know Jose, then you should go to Open Table right now. And I've got 20 restaurants to recommend to you tonight, because they're all fantastic. But thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So happy to be here, really.
So,
very exciting. I mean, I learned more in the last half an hour than I learned in the entire last 6 months, which is always great. So this is amazing. I'm used to hear so many great ideas and what's happening in this beautiful house. It's amazing, so congratulations. This is very powerful, really amazing.
So we're recruiting some social entrepreneurs, people with really big ideas, and it's the beginning of a journey. And so, one thing that I'm always interested in with people who have, kind of progressed to a point is looking back. What advice would you give, to a young José Andrés starting up? Like, what's the advice that you wanted to hear right at the beginning of that journey?
It's so funny because I'm 47 and I'm still so lost. Every week, my partner, who I think is here, and friend, mentor, so many things, Rob Wilder, we always have these people, especially people from Spain, that they come to ask us questions about success. And just we came out of a meeting saying, man, we have a total failure in our hands with this business. What are we doing? So it's so funny, right? And I think the number one thing is just to be highly aware of how weak every idea, every business is we need to see business as a baby. And a baby requires a lot of care and love, and changing diapers and feeding. And this is what a business is. In the moment we don't see a business as a living creature, is the moment that chances are the business is not going to be successful. So what I learned is that business are a baby. We use open beefsteak. This fast food restaurant that is going to try to make every person in the world to eat vegetables, which is like, really? And I just came from there, and today I probably spoke to 24, 26 people. And I was not asking them, what do you like? I was asking them, what are you about to write and bitch on Yelp? Because I want to know. So this is, to me, what entrepreneurship is. Understanding that I was a father 3 times, 3 beautiful daughters, and I just knew that I barely became a grown-up man, and life doesn't come with instructions. So you go through the process of life almost without instructions, and you are continuously learning. And in the process, you learn how to be a father even. Inside me, I think I'm a terrible father. In the business, it's kind of this kind of thing. What can I do to be a better father? In this case, how can I treat my business like a baby that you give all the love, but you know it requires hard work, a lot of love, and even sometimes you feel like, wow, I'm still not there. I think to recognize that feeling that you are not there yet is something we need to transform into a positive. Not being there is part of you caring so much for what you're doing that eventually you'll be successful. So don't be sad on not reaching your goals. Having that feeling is what keeps you trying harder. The day that you are kind of in the comfort zone, saying everything is right, is usually when everything begins going wrong. So it's okay to have that feeling of, I'm not there yet. Well, not being there yet is part of the journey. And probably you'll be always in the horizon. That's a good thing. Just keep your hopes in the horizon near, but always walking towards them. That's what to me is entrepreneurship, that you feel you're close, but you're never there.
So, one thing that after we've worked with 32 social enterprises now, and I think that one thing that comes up a lot is just, where do you get energy from, right? Like, you have to have just this resilience each morning to get up and know that you're going to get punched, right? You're going to get punched in the gut, and you have to just go up and do it. So, maybe whether, obviously looking and seeing that future and kind of actually visualizing that, what other tips do you have in terms of how you're able to get energy, after so many years in the work that you do?
I think the energy part to keep going and not being in a, I don't open restaurants. I always say I tell stories. And the only way I know how to tell a story is through a plate of food and convey those stories, one plate, one person at a time. And I have so many stories I want to share that's why I have so many different restaurants. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I tell myself why I didn't concentrate in Spain, which is the country I know. And for me, it's not very hard to tell that story, besides my accent. But why did I go into Chinese and Peruvian, or into fast food, or into so many other things we do? I think my drive really is, I always tell the story of Rodolfo Guzman, which is this guy from Bolivia, that when I arrived Washington, D.C., and I was hired as head chef of Jaleo, he was there on the construction site. Rodolfo, 23 years later, has became the head chef, has helped me open 4 new restaurants, has helped create hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs with his dedication to the business, has been an example to many other immigrants around him on how to be a proper immigrant, how to dream to become a proper American. And people like him is what keeps my drive of keep doing things, to understand that the role of every business, if we only see it as a pure P&L, how much money you made, All people working with me, they always know that I barely ever ask how much money we made. Actually, I still don't know much about my monetary business. My wife even runs my wallet. I don't even know the money I have in the bank. I mean, if she leave me one day for the scuba diver teacher, I will. Which she does when she's underwater. So now making serious about it, to me, I do believe, and I think is the answer you are very much all giving us here with your amazing presentations, and what everybody in this room should be remembering is that I do believe the new capitalist way of doing business is the one that you are really analyzing your return on investment on how many people you are able to empower and lift up from poverty. If we don't start seeing business this way, capitalism has no future. Because if capitalism means that I have to have a very big bank account and a very big house, but in the process I have to have all these other people in Asia not getting barely paid so I can have an iPhone, or these other people making my golf clubs so I can have my golf clubs, but they barely have a life. I don't want that capitalism. I do believe the capitalism and what keeps me willing to do business, and everybody in this room should keep having that thought, is how with every one of our actions, our new business we create, not only obviously we can be having a great return to our investors money-wise, but before everything has to be really the belief that we are creating the same wealth for others that we are aiming for our own. That should be what keeps moving us to keep opening business. Without that, I do believe capitalism as we understand it is doomed. And I do believe in capitalism. I want to be super rich. I want to be richer than Donald Trump. But I don't want to achieve that dream and that success at the expense of others. That's not what business should be all about anymore.
So, and it's a really compelling. Absolutely. We have a lot of conversations about just this, right? Which is the idea that you have people starting businesses now that are focused more than just on the bottom line. And there are a lot of skeptics out there. Most of them are investors because they say, listen, you're giving away my profits, right? I mean, how are you going to make this a competitive venture with something that if I'm looking across a portfolio, I could invest in something that I'm going to just get a better return on. So for you, my question is, and because I know this has impacted your work, do you think there are incentives out there for social entrepreneurs? Do you think that they have advantages in the marketplace because of the work that they're doing and the impact that they're having?
What I know is that the very complicated moment we are living in is, if we are able to put the few billion people that we have out there out of poverty into the working system of the world, just the economy on its own is going to start growing like there is no tomorrow. How many inmates we may have in the United States that we keep reading all the time because they were caught, with a little pack of marijuana in their car, and because they did something else and they didn't pay the bill, they end a few years in jail. I don't know how you think about it, but I do believe that we have certain people that shouldn't be, for example, in jail at all. Actually, it should be people that should be nurtured, like this organization is nurturing those people. So instead of me spending $80,000, $90,000 a year to keep one inmate in jail because it's a terrible, dangerous people, some people, they should be probably. But still, I do believe that the big answer is going to be when, instead of throwing money at the problem that we'll be spending $80,000 a year to keep an inmate in jail, what if we put part of that money, and not throwing the money in the problem, but investing into a solution? The true way to think like business, if we're spending every dollar that every American through our taxes, will be, how can I make that person actually not a problem but a solution? And how can we invest in this person so he's out of jail, but he can be a net contributor of our society? If we start thinking on every problem that way, stop throwing money at the problem and start investing into solutions, many of these I'm sure that we'll have one day, one guy that will create a school in California that will be for those people that shouldn't be in jail, but before we put them out in the street with nothing, we'll give them this kind of new college or new university of new life, so that person just doesn't go in the street with nothing else to do, but already with a purpose in life. So that person really, we are investing into that person, not throwing money into his jail. And right now, if we apply that example I just gave you to every single thing, and we have this thinking of how can we invest into solve a problem instead of how I throw money to keep the problem happening all over again. If we start having this kind of thought, then we can have a better tomorrow. If we keep throwing money at the problems, problems will be there forever and ever and ever.
So if you want to invest in high return solutions, come talk to me. We have a lot of great social entrepreneurs here, great opportunities. I want to ask one more question, and then I've been selfish, I've been hogging all the questions, then we're going to open it up to the audience. So if you have questions, restart your brain, restart your CPU, and I'm sure they're already on the tip of your tongue. But very quickly, you talked at the beginning about something that I think is also important, which is a conversation that maybe happens a little bit more on the West Coast in the startup scene, but not as much on the East Coast. And it's about failure and risk, which have to go together in some ways. So to get everyone comfortable, because you seem to be someone who is open about sharing these experiences, can you tell us about something you did that did not work, that failed, and how that was actually an important learning experience moving forward?
So we need to remember that one of my favorite phrases was from Winston Churchill that said that success was going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And what I know is I have a lot of enthusiasm. We've been very lucky in businesses. So far. And I can give you the typical failures of location. But that's kind of boring. But we had those that we decided to open Oyamel in the wrong part, probably at the time. And we moved Oyamel downtown, and it's a huge business. But what I will say with failure is that, I'm coming from Spain, one of the things I always love in America, and I don't think we give enough value, is really to make the habit of celebrating that failure, because always is going to be a sunrise tomorrow. And for me, what really keeps me is that moment of, I'm very afraid all the time. Especially, I don't like to read Yelp before I go to bed at night, because it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna have. So for me, I think that failure, I always see it as a positive, because to me it's what really keeps me going. So for me, I don't have a bad relationship with failure. I love that person, that thing that is failure, because I give her or him thanks for keeping me always awake. So I do believe all we have to have for our personal relationships, for our businesses, a very good relationship with that person that failure is. Because if we are able to deal with that person on looking at the person on the eyes, at that thing that is there, is present. As a chef, I'm only as good as the last plate I cook. In 1993, I did a great paella. Well, the person that ate the bad one yesterday doesn't care. Sadly, I'm in a tough business. I wish I was a painter. Look at, wow, Matisse. You fix it 23 times. Imagine I could fix all my dishes 23,000 times. Now it's finished, and you all have to share it. So my message to everybody is, have a good relationship with failure. Make sure it's your friend. It's okay. If you are able to establish that relationship, life is so much easier. If failure is something we are afraid, but we wanted to have it far away and we are afraid to look at it at the eyes, life is a lot harder. So look into the eyes of failure and just be friend with her or with him. Because actually, to me, I don't see it as a negative. I see it as the best motivator I ever had in my life. And for that, I appreciate that I have failure next to me. Not sleeping with her, just near you.
So now, if anyone has questions, we'll go ahead and take a few. So we have one eager young fellow over here.
Muchas gracias, Jose. And I actually got to hear you speak at the commencement at GW because my husband got PhD a few years ago, and you were speaking. And at first I was very, excited, like, wow, José Andrés is gonna cook for all of us today. And I didn't know what to expect, and I was actually crying during your speech because you shared how you came to this country when you were 19, I believe, and then you didn't understand, much of the culture and language, and you are in New York alone. And I really related because I came here when I was 19 and I didn't speak English and I was alone. So it's very inspirational to see you here. So the challenge of being an entrepreneur, but you're also from different culture. And here we have fellows from Iran and India and second generation. Like, what was your biggest challenge as coming from another culture doing the entrepreneur? And how did you overcome that challenge?
I was very lucky. I mean, my biggest challenge is that I had $50 in the pocket when I came. And the taxi driver left me like 180 streets north of Manhattan, where I was going, and 10 avenues west. And I had to walk for I don't know how many hours with my luggage, which I didn't have wheels at the time because they didn't exist. So I've been very lucky and very blessed in so many ways in this sense. I don't know that if when I was younger, because now I'm not the same, I'm changing a little bit. I was very positive always. And every time something really bad happened, I rented that apartment and I had plants above me, and I will wake up every morning a little bit, and there were marijuana plants, like these Polish guys that rent me their room. They had all the marijuana in my room, and I guess that's why it was so cheap. And I have a lot of stories like that. But me, quite frankly, I've always seen this like, oh, great, another challenge to. I think the hardest thing with me, and I don't know you, but it's just going to bed, thinking like I've tried to do something like could impact the life of others that day. And this is my biggest continuous challenge and failure of business, family, friends. I'm moody sometimes, right? We all are. I'm very happy other times when my soccer team wins Barcelona. But to me, really, what my biggest challenge is just to realize that I'm a very lucky guy, and that others sometimes they are not so lucky. And for me, the biggest challenge that I ask myself is, what else can we do to really make sure that more people can enjoy the same things you and I were enjoying? Because when I just came back from Haiti after the earthquake in my first trip, that day I'm like, if I complain about my coffee at the Starbucks not being perfectly hot, I'm sure I have the right to complain. I'm paying for the Starbucks. But when you start comparing your life, what 4 degrees on my coffee make in my life. So I just realized that that's probably my biggest challenge, failure. Me, I've been always very easy to adapt to the circumstances, and I love that I came to America. And I wish I could tell you that I had a lot of challenges, but I didn't. I always felt so welcome. And when I didn't feel welcome, I tried to make them welcome. So, you know what I mean? So I didn't have. But yes, my thing is, and this, I'm 47, I know I have for the next 20, 30 years, besides the business, my partner and I will keep doing. I know my biggest failure is knowing that I have a lot of other people that are not enjoying what my wife, my children are. And this is probably my biggest challenge on making sure that the society I live in can be enjoyed by the many, not by the few.
Wonderful. All right. Other questions? Yes, we have one right here, and then one right behind.
Sorry for the long question. Sorry for the long answer.
I very much enjoyed your show from Haiti. I have spent the last 20 years doing various things there. I'm an architect. And I was wondering, Haiti has so many problems and such a rich culture, cuisine being one of them, architecture, art, how culture can improve a society.
That's a great question. He's the father of Christoph, who is one of who presented here, and who's a great architect and helped build the schools and churches there. So thank you very much for the question, and thank you for your job in Haiti, really, and for a great son. So Haiti, after the earthquake, I went there. Don't tell me why. I had the need to go. After Sandy, I went there 5 days to learn how America provides help to Americans after a hurricane. Learning, because if we don't learn, and also it's like acting, right? It's like you send a check and help, or you go and try to be part of help, right? It's even like this front row is empty, right? This is sometimes what happens with society, right? I wish that the ones in the very back sat over here. Not used to come and listen, and we all clap to the people we like and the people we support, and we all clap like seals when somebody says, we're going to change the world, and everybody does. But then people sit in the back. No, we need to start sitting in the front. And we actually need to stand up and start doing. So that's what I mean when they invite me to do things like this. I'm like, really? I rather prefer go Haiti and take you all to Haiti in a plane and then show you. So the answers are, I went there with a simple belief, how food can be changing the lives of people, because I realize it's not a lot of NGOs that see food as an agent of change. We throw money at the problem. Again, how America is very generous. But if we give free rice to Haiti, yeah, they're going to eat that week and next week until we stop giving them rice. You know what happened in the process? All the rice producers of Haiti went out of business. Why? Because nobody just went and bought the rice. So a year later, was no rice production in Haiti. And we put thousands of farmers out of business because our good heart used. So we need to start doing good. It's not enough. We need to start doing a smart good. At the end, I realized that to help the world, we need to be thinking like if we're investing in the world. The world, or Haiti, they don't want our pity. They only want our respect. So the world is going to be changing in places like Haiti when we start seeing that we need to be doing investing. Let me give you an example. So I have this new NGO that my partner and I created, called Central Kitchen. We put a little bit of money. Now we have a lot of projects 5 years later. One of them is in an orphanage. The orphanage needed bread, and they had the space. And I had the knowledge how to make bread and the money to help invest on the bakery. We did a bakery, we trained people. We actually created the first bakery that is handicap ready because the orphanage, every kid there is handicapped and they'll never be able to leave. So we thought, let me create. So now we've been making $3,000 3 years later. The project worked so well, we did a second one, don't tell me why, but in Zambia, because we had this priest that kept coming to us. And one day he showed up in the doors of my office. I need you to do a bakery in Zambia. I'm like, what? We did the bakery in Zambia. So culturally, Haiti, the reason I did the show was this. Our organization has helped create the tourism cooking school, the new cooking school of Haiti, to train the future cooks for the new tourists that is going to arrive. We have a restaurant that we opened in September in the orphanage that now is bringing kind of peace to a neighborhood that was very rough and a very affordable. So we have a lot of projects like this. We changed 100 schools from charcoal to gas. We have a lot of crazy, but the tourism is like, is the potential of Haiti, is the future of Haiti, right? But if I tell you, let's go on Thanksgiving to Haiti with me, all the news that comes from that country, they're all bad. CNN, bad. NBC, bad. It's not one good piece of news. So we thought, we were having Rams hours, I can tell you that. And we thought, what can we do with very little and have a big impact? So I had these amazing friends who follow me, and they go with cameras and they help tell the stories of the places that nobody knows about. And we began shooting, and we did a documentary. And we tried to sell it. We tried to look for money. I'm like, hey, HBO, we have a show of Haiti. I'm like, are you crazy? At the end, we found National Geographic that really helped us, and PBS, who partnered with us. And the thing we did was simple. Is the glass of water in Haiti halfway empty, or is the glass of water halfway full? The only thing we did was very pragmatic. We showed to the world that Haiti, if you show up, the country will do better. If we keep throwing them our old clothing, the country will go down. So the only thing we said is, if we want change in a place like Haiti, the way to do it is start showing up. And the show we did was to show the beauty of a country that is in desperate need of all of us to start simply showing up and showing the people that we care. If we do that, the country will be fine. If we keep thinking that this is the worst place on earth, it's not any different than maybe what happens in Anacostia. If we will believe that Anacostia can be the future of this city, Anacostia will do much better than if we keep thinking that this is the part of town that nobody wants to go. That's unfair for Anacostia, and that's unfair for the people that live there. We all can be changing one neighborhood at a time. The only thing we need to do is start showing up.
All right, we have time for one more quick question, one more quick answer. And so...
Okay, my lack of English, I have to use more words to express myself. But they need to take their classes. I mean, what a presentation they give. It's like perfect to the point. They don't miss a beat. I need to take those classes because I know they had coaching. I mean, this is way too good.
Well, as we said earlier, the application period is open now. So if you want, we've got some great, you can live here and work here. We've got a great kitchen.
I have an idea I want to develop. Another one. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And Rob can be your mentor. So that works out really well.
Poor guy. He's trying to be my mentor 23 years.
So one final question in the back.
Actually, Ryan, I'm sorry. It's going to have to be two questions. One from me, one from Shelley.
Okay. We'll get them both at once.
Very good. Mine is, I was in Kenya when you were there in July of last year.
Yeah.
And I heard from one of the entrepreneurs, and this goes back to your point about food being an agent of change. I heard from an entrepreneur who's now farming some plant in East Africa that you expressed an interest in this exotic food. And my question is, how do you incorporate exotic foods from other parts of the world into your cooking?
Yeah, I just spoke to so many people in Kenya that was a lot of farmers, and many had that. So I don't remember the product, but it was many things. It was a great trip, and President Obama did amazing. You could be Republican, you could be Democrat. But just to see an Afro-American president give a speech in front of not only the people of Kenya, but the people of Africa. I do believe we will see the importance of that speech and his presence in Kenya and in Africa in the years to come. I think what he did was just unbelievable. So this is a good question. I mean, the example of Haiti, I've been trying, for example, to incorporate coffee, that now Haiti initially exporting coffee into my restaurant, right? So this is many things that we can all be doing to be helping faraway countries or countries in needs. And this I only want to talk about immigration, right? And immigration reform. You all know that there's 11 million undocumented people here, right? And you know that some people want to do a wall somewhere in the south. And the Pope today spoke, you may be religious or not, but the Pope, which I see as a good figure, said today, well, that's not a very Christian thing to do. So it's funny that some people are, I'm more Christian than you. Like, well. So let me try to see where I'm going with this. Because if my wife knows I'm talking about this, she'll. And for us to understand how complicated the world is and how unprepared sometimes our leaders are to solve it, because they are clueless about the true issues that people face. Is no wall ever is going to stop a man or a woman, a father or a mother from going to a place that they can provide for their children, that they can dream to provide. Do you think anybody wants to leave Cuba or Haiti or Syria? Or if people want to be living in the communities, people want to be where they're born. People don't want to be just finding new homes somewhere. When they do this, it's because they are in true need. And what we all need to start doing is keep saying the same thing, investing into the solutions. That's why sometimes I joke that the people that say they are local and seasonal, they're criminals. You cannot be local when you talk about food. Why? Because if we are only local and we don't buy avocados from Mexico, it's going to be thousands of families living out of avocados in south of Mexico that they're going to be without jobs. What those Mexicans are going to do if they have no food and no jobs? They're going to come to the better place. What's the better place? America. So what we have to do, sometimes be local, but other times buy avocados from Mexico. In the process, we are helping their economy, but also we are helping ours, because it's some people importing, some people distributing, some people, like in my Mexican restaurant, making guacamole. So life is so complex that your question is perfect, but we could be talking hours about what it means to incorporate a faraway ingredient into America or into Europe. What we need to be is also doing a smart good. Who likes quinoa in this room? You are all criminals. Because when the quinoa craze began in Europe and in America, and the prices of quinoa went so high, and you were so cool because you were eating the new grain that nobody knew about. In the process, the quinoa price in the high regions of Peru, Bolivia, went so high that the poor families that rely on that quinoa couldn't afford it. You were part of the problem because you didn't thought better. Not like you have to be thinking all the time, but if you want to be a citizen in this 21st century, unfortunately, we have the information out there to be more prepared, because every action is going to have a positive or a negative reaction somewhere else in the world. So even when you're thinking you're doing good, don't be so sure. Make sure that we are prepared in the same way that you are investing, and you are highly prepared to do an investment because you know all the information. Every time we eat something, local or from a faraway country, make sure that you are highly aware, so you do a smart good and not only good. Because if you do good, you may be doing more damage than you think. So that's my 2 cents.
So we have to wrap up, and so I'm going to have to defer all the questions to a nice networking session with coffee and Georgetown cupcake. It should be delicious and fantastic. But more than anything else, I just want to wrap up by really saying that it's inspiring to be on stage here and to hear your message, because it really shows that there is a connection between how you can do good in this world, and it doesn't have to be through just giving money or throwing money at a problem. We can invest in solutions. And there are a lot of skeptics out there. There are a lot of people who aren't in this room who don't think it can be done. But we have a great new crop of fellows who are not saying, here's how you do it. They're showing us, and they're doing it every day. So I encourage you guys to come meet the new fellows, come say hello to us. We're very excited about this. And as you find those great entrepreneurs in your networks, the social entrepreneurs who should be at Halcyon, you make sure to tell them to apply. Application will be open for the next 2 months or so. So with that, I'd love to give a big round of applause to José Andrés.
And use, if I can add, please, next time you come, if we're really all trying to change our communities, we need to start by doing it sitting on the first row. Not sitting in the back. It's not clapping what the world needs. It's being right there on the first line of making change. Is that clear?
All right, thank you.